Any bets?
APNU asks you to trust them.
Take a chance.
But Guyana has come too far to take chances.
What's the CAD? What's the CAD? Any bets? What's the CAD? With the palm chicken.
Don't gamble with Guyana's future. Vote PPPC, working together for a better tomorrow.
Hey, are you ready for victory? Let me see your hands. Put 'em up, put the cup in the air. Oh, come raise it up now. From strength to strength, we're moving with the...
I'm Roman Ruknarayan, the party's media coordinator, and with me is one of our executive members, Mr. Robert Prasad. I'll first invite him to make a brief statement, following which we'll invite your questions. Mr. Prasad.
First of all, I want to announce that tomorrow we'll be having a grand public meeting in Bartica, and that signals the start of a major component of our campaign, that is in the hinterland. We have started a number of meetings and outreaches involving leading members of our slate, leading members of the PPP Civic, and the Bartica meeting will signal a heightened presence in the hinterland, and it will be followed by Maruka, Mabaruma, and Lethem, Port Kaituma, and also covering areas in Region 8. Bartica is very important, as we know, given the importance of the mining sector, given that also Bartica is considered, and I'm sure Adam would agree, at some point in our history as the gateway to the interior. And certainly we want to recognize how important our hinterland, our interiors in terms of our development, in terms of unleashing the true potential of our country. And certainly the Bartica rally will highlight the government's emphasis in terms of the PPP Civic, and also the various components of our manifesto that speak to the issue of hinterland development and the transformation, particularly of the village economies of those areas. The presidential candidate, the president, as well as other leading members and also persons from Bartica, as you know, Mr. Mark Wilfred is now part of the PPP Civic slate. At one time, a leading light of sort of the People's National Congress. We also have others from Bartica, miners, activists, who will also be present and be making presentations at that important grand public meeting. The other issue I want to address has to deal with the issue of nomination day. And first of all, as you know, we had a very successful nomination day parade, certainly the largest by all independent account. In terms of persons who turned out to be part of the parade, we were able to present our list. We presented 3 lists, the national top-up, the geographical, as well as the regional list, totaling a number of 435 candidates. For us, it was not just merely presenting a list, but ensuring that we had a blend or a composition that reflected the makeup of our society, that presented the best skills and experience and youth and competence, which is so necessary for the development and progress of this country, that is very forward-looking, a team that can move this country forward and take it certainly to greater heights and building from strength to strength. The geographical spread of our list is also significant, with 31% coming from the hinterland, 20% from the urban centers, and 40% from the rural communities, the rural regions of our country, showing that people, wherever they live, they have also a very significant input. And if you look especially with the hinterland composition of the list, you will see what the emphasis is, and it's also ensuring that hinterland community, particularly Amerindians too, are involved. In terms of gender, we've put a lot of emphasis on that, and we've exceeded the constitutional requirements in 2 accounts. On both the national top-up as well as the geographical list, we've moved beyond the 1/3. But also, we were not required, the Constitution does not require geographical, the gender composition, but we also insisted that we had that. And at the end of the day, we came in with close to 36% if you brought all three of the lists together. In terms of ethnicity, again, the list is reflective of the diverse ethnic makeup of our society, with about 49% representing Indo-Guyanese, 31% Afro-Guyanese, 9% Amerindian, 2% Portuguese, 2% Chinese, and 7% mixed ethnicity. More or less, it's the census of our population, and we're very, very proud too of that fact. And I think it will assure all that the list is certainly truly reflective, and people have the opportunity. And when we talk about inclusive politics and talk about people being given the opportunity or being allowed to participate, I think this list certainly presents that opportunity. Also, another element of our diversity is religious affiliation. We have Christians accounting for the majority of the list, 46%, followed by Hindus, 40%, Muslim, 14% in this regard. Also, we continue with our alliance politics in terms of working with civic groups. And at the end of the day, we have a 69-31% ratio, 69% from the PPP, and 31% coming from civil society, civic group, social organization that we consider the civic bloc in this regard. Importantly, too, our list, if you look at the age structure, also reflected youth and experience. And we've provided that breakdown with 36% persons below 40 years, 37% persons between 41 and 55 years, as well as persons above 55 years accounted for 27%. The average age of our list is in the vicinity of 45 years. And certainly, again, that shows the youth element blended also with the experience of our list. In terms of profession, in terms of skills too, we've placed a lot of emphasis on that. We wanted to ensure that we had the competence, the experience, and persons with the necessary qualifications that can advance, implement our manifesto, as well as the PPP Civics agenda for Guyana. But also, we also wanted to ensure that workers, farmers, activists, youth leaders, women leaders, in addition to the lawyers, the doctors, the accountants, the bankers, and all the necessary skills, the scientists and the researchers who are on board, that we had that type of blend. Because we believe that knowledge, we believe that experience, we believe also competence can come from all strata and all sections of our society. So certainly for us, as I said, it was not just the presentation of a list, but also the presentation of a slate that can be very instrumental in continuing the development, transformation, momentum in our country, and one in which the people of Guyana, the electorate in Guyana certainly, can feel assured that is ready, able, and competent to take our country forward, and that creates the opportunity for all to work together for a better tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the floor is open to you.
Mr. Prasad, could you respond to allegations from Moses Nagamutu that the internal elections was rigged? And is Ramatar afraid of a post-presidential debate?
Firstly, you know, when you are dissatisfied with the results, you can't say that the process was fraudulent or fraudulent, and it's unfounded. And the same process that has been used at the leadership elections of the People's Progressive Party is the same process that has been used from the time Mr. Nagamutu joined. So there's been no change, there's no deviation from that procedure, from the method and the transparency. When the elections of the PPP at Congress is done, the ballots are counted openly, and members are free to observe and watch the counting. It's not done locked away in some room, and persons are free to observe the counting. So even when we talk about free and fair elections and counting at the place of poll and having observers, we practice that in our internal democracy. To say otherwise is to just be a sour and disgruntled loser. We are in the process of communicating our interests in a presidential debate. Now that we've been able to finalize the itinerary of our presidential candidate and the campaign, now the nomination day is out of the way, we can have pinned down in some specific dates. Ramatar has never and will never be afraid of a debate. Any place, anytime, he's ready for a debate. We will be engaging persons who have expressed an interest, as well as we will be looking at persons also who might be interested in or instrumental in facilitating that debate amongst the leaders of the different political parties. It does not exclude anyone.
The observer mission, sir. You had objected to the GPSU being involved in any observer mission in this country. However, GCOM has gone ahead and accredited GPSU. Your party's reaction to that, sir?
I have received, in our party and our General Secretary and our presidential candidate, we received a clarification from the GPSU president and leadership, one, disassociating themselves from the statement that was reported. And I saw another letter whereby, in fact, they went after the Kaitor News for engaging in unethical journalism and more or less suggesting it might have been a fabrication or might have been emphasis placed on the wrong statement. We have, as we said then and we're saying now, we would leave GCOM to make its judgment on the matter. We've presented our objection. We have provided the reasons why we had objected to the GPSU. I myself have met with the president of the GPSU, and he assured me and assured the PPP Civic that there was no intention, or is it the policy of the GPSU, to identify itself with any particular presidential candidate. There are people in the leadership of the GPSU too, and members of the GPSU who are also supporters and, of the PPP Civic. So perhaps if one of them step out and say, well, we support the PPP Civic, you know, I guess one cannot brand the entire union in that regard. Likewise, if you have another member. But the issue was to clarify whether or not the acting general secretary was speaking on behalf of the union or not. And the leadership and the president says, well, that was not the case. But at the end of the day, we've left GCOM, because GCOM is an independent body. We cannot impose our will. We do not do what others do, go and intimidate people, or you won't find us running around GPSU or driving by Mr. Yard's house and taking photographs of Mr. Yard's house as others have been doing to GCOM functionaries and officials. We don't engage in those type of politics. We do things, we follow things in the manner in which it's supposed to be. We've written, we let our positions be known, and we would expect that good sense will prevail. And whatever the verdict of GCOM, we will have to accept. As I said, it is an independent body, and we hope that other stakeholders too will respect and allow GCOM to operate and function in a very independent manner and not intimidate and throwing all sorts of statements at officers and its functionaries.
Does it still mean you're holding steadfast to your position with respect to the remark made by the union official?
Because the union has disassociated itself, because of the letter I saw that Kaitor News published, certainly it would have allowed us the opportunity to contemplate further in the matter, but we had not withdrawn our letter that time. But at the end of the day, I think the onus and the responsibility, I think other groups should have done it also, not only the PPP Civic, because if you say you're an observer body and then your leadership is reported to have declared support for a political party, I think it compromises any organization, GPSC or any other body that wants to be an observer. And I think it was very fit, very proper, and it was our responsibility to have highlighted this fact. At the end of the day, we will abide by the ruling and the position of GCOM in this matter.
Sir, that brings us to the point of the Region 4 returning officer. There were objections to him being there. I think he has resigned. Would you comment on
All I would say is that it is bad to hound people. It is bad to target people without any particular reason. I don't know who the gentleman is. I've never seen, never heard of him before until I saw the protests and the issues that were. But I'm yet to understand what was wrong about him or what crime he committed. I don't know if the wider public understands. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure whether he has finally submitted a resignation or intend to do so. But no political party, no grouping, no individual has the right to target, has the right to harass, or has the right to intimidate any functionary that has been properly, based on all indications, that have been properly selected in accordance with the regulations and the procedures that are outlined. I don't think it's fit for anyone to do so. We may offer an opinion if that person's performance was lacking or that person said something. There's absolutely a right to comment on that. But I don't think the public has been provided with any evidence of wrongdoing, malpractice, or anything by that officer or any other officer that has been targeted by GCOM. By the opposition, sorry.
I want to go back to Mr. Nagamoto yesterday. What's the party's view of him equating I would think if it's Philip Knowles to defecation? And could you give us a comment yesterday to this? What's your view of what took place when the APS got there and stormed the gate of Mr. Knowles?
Well, first of all, Nagamoto's statement must only and can only be seen in light of someone who has had political aspirations, presidential ambition, failed to secure the support of the membership and the leadership, and one would expect that he will be engaging in a lot of, as we can say, mudslinging at the leadership and at the membership of the People's Progressive Party. If what Mr. Nagamoto said is a true account, as reported, he owes the members of the People's Progressive Party an apology. And in fact, today, if that is how he would have viewed the members of the People's Progressive Party, today we are richer without him. Today we are much more secure without him. Today we are stronger without an individual and a personality who has that weakness of character to be making such statement against the members of the People's Progressive Party. And he owes them an apology if he has any iota of decency remaining. But as I said before, Mr. Nagamoto has exercised his democratic right. And we will respect that right. And certainly, he is free to make his choices, but he will not be free from the consequences of his choices.
Before you answer the next question, I want to ask your opinion. Do you believe had the AFC not offered him the VP candidacy, would he have joined that party?
Mr. Nagamoto, from time to time in the leadership, has expressed an interest in being a vice president. But as our presidential candidate has made it quite clear, persons who serve on the slate, on the team, have no one, yours truly included, or anyone has been assured of any place in government after elections. That's not how we operate. And all those individuals who have come on board to join the PPP Civic have been unsolicited. They came at their own free will because they recognize what we're doing. They want to be part of the PPP Civic. And they did not ask, nor were they offered any position. But I guess somebody might have offered something, and Mr. Nagamoto responded, which he's free to respond. But that's not how the PPP operate, PPP Civic. In terms of APNU, there's a saying, the more things change, the more they remain the same. That is the story of APNU and the PNC. You can rebrand it, You can dress it up. It is the same old PNC. You look at the list of candidates and the leadership, it is more of the PNC. And I thought it was only more of the PNC in terms of presence. I didn't realize in attitude and action too. And I think what we had there was disgusting. You know, it is nomination day. We have to demonstrate civility. But certainly, you know, the APNU and those who tried to do this makeover of the PNC, I'm quite sure what took place yesterday undid all the marketing and all the packaging that was being attempted. And the people of Guyana, again, have seen for themselves the true character and what is the APNU about. It's just more of the old PNC.
So, Mr. Prasad, is Mr. Peter Ansroof a member of the list?
No, he's not a member of the slate. And there are many persons, too, who would have indicated support. Persons who've endorsed and come forward not necessarily mean they're on the list. So many persons have said we will endorse, but we don't even not interested to in being on the list. So it is not in that regard.
So how does the party feel? How does the party feel? Do you feel that you're attracting people who might be just cosmetically part of the PPP for opportunistic purposes?
I think it's an insult to characterize genuine Guyanese who want to be associated with the development and program and the platform of the PPP Civic to say it's opportunistic or to consider them cosmetic. People have the right, as I said, to associate, and people's views change over time. People sometimes become a bit more informed.
But so quickly?
People also become a bit more aware. And I'm quite sure with the launching of the PPP Civic Manifesto, it gave people surety, it gave people certainty as to what will be the focus of the Donald Ramotar presidency and government. And I think that itself would have been that springboard or the catalyst in terms of seeing the rallying around by persons who would have held a different views about the PPP Civic or the People's Progressive Party. And that is what makes us different from other political parties. That is what makes us, because we do not in any way judge people or condemn people for life. We may criticize people, we may offer different positions, but we let people know that the House, Freedom House, the People's Progressive Party, the PPP Civic, we are large enough for all those who want to play a constructive role in our country's development. We do not exclude, we include. And in that outlook and that awareness, that is why others feel free. You could have had a totally opposite view. Today you become much more aware. We have that historical, the PPP, you have to understand this. The PPP has a historical mandate that our founders and successive leadership of this party have put on themselves. You know what is that historical mandate? To unite the people of this country. That is our self-imposed historical mandate. And we will never, ever falter and budge or renege on that mandate. We will never do that. We have that historical mandate to this country. We owe it to our past generation, and we certainly owe it to future generations. All that we can do to unite and bring unity and bring inclusivity and bring full participation for people, we will do it. That is our mandate. That is the People's Progressive Party mandate.
Sir, if I may take you back, we go to WIM, and your party has been working in its various strongholds. I've read in the press about some reactions in WIM and to a lesser extent Port Morant about Nagamutu's movement. What have you found on the ground?
First of all, no effect initially, but I'll go a step further. We will take you to those communities. We will take you in our house-to-house activities, and we'll let you film and hear what the people of those communities have to say. I rest my case.
According to a letter in the Kaiju News, Freddie Kissoon has been banned from writing critical articles on Donald Ramotar. What's your view?
You have to ask the editor and the publishers of the Kaieteur News. We are not in the business of dictating to newspapers, or would we want in any way to influence the editorial policies of newspaper. We may disagree on the style, we may disagree on the particular reporting, but we don't want, if the Stabroek News has taken a position, for example, that they will misrepresent our activities in terms of crowd, in terms of participation, that is their right. We may have a different view, we may object to that, but I would not want to say, well, the Stabroek News must from there on treat accurately. We'd expect them to treat accurately what happened and what takes place. And likewise, they may have commentaries and the continuing negative comments that the Kaieteur News may make too. We may object to those reporting, but no way will we want to dictate to the editorial or to the owners what they should or should not do. But when for us they violate ethics and we are not treated fairly, we will speak out against those, as we have done, and some say we have been doing that a lot too.
Any bets?
APNU asks you to trust them,
Take a chance.
but Guyana has come too far to take chances.
Watch the can. Watch the can. Any bets? Watch the can. With the palm chicken.
Don't gamble with Guyana's future. Vote PPPC, working together for a better tomorrow.